I made this video over the course of 135 days, and it shows you the path I took, all the thoughts I had, and exactly what I was going through as I quit my career in tool and die, making good money, to now sell chickens on YouTube. Today's October 19th, 2022, and today I got a phone call from Liddy, my wife. Our youngest son, Lachlan, his chest was denting in when he was breathing. He's been sick. The older two have been sick. And it got bad enough to where she's like, look, I think we should take him to Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. I was on a hot job. I just got a speech on how we need to get a good part off of this today. The customer's getting really mad because we're late. We don't have good parts. So I just have this overwhelming, like, I want to go there and I want to be there for my kid. I want to be there for my wife, help support her. So I got done what I needed to get done, the first step of it. I went in, I told my boss, who's the owner, look, I got to leave. I got to go. I have to take one of my kids to the hospital. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place all the time, where you have to choose between your work and your kids. And everybody I say this to is like, well, yeah, that's normal, that's life. And I don't think it should be. And that's why I decided today that I'm for sure going to quit my job. This has been something I've been thinking about for a while, but it's, how can you? How can you quit your job? There's no way you can make money farming. There's no money in YouTube. You're not going to make any money off YouTube. And right now I've got 1,590 subscribers today. That's it. That's all I have. But I sold a lot of chicks last year. I want to be able to spend this time with my family. I came home and I told Liddy, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I said, look, I can always go back. I can always go work for somebody again. But if I never work for myself and I never try this, I never try to be a full-time farmer, homesteader, creator, whatever you want to call it, I'll never know. So March 3rd, which is my birthday, I'm going to quit my job. Obviously, I'll give them 2 weeks. Whatever they want. I don't know if they're going to want me to leave right away. I don't know if they're going to want me to work more than 2 weeks. But that's the plan. That's 135 days from now to tell you what steps I'm taking to be able to quit my job and spend all the time with these guys. Because this is what's most important. This right here. Right there. Asa feeding the cow while we're getting ready to milk. Asa absolutely loves milking cows with me. He loves doing chores with me. Everett, come here. Do you like doing chores with me?
Not really, because I get kind of like tired.
You get tired? Yeah.
A little bit.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But you like doing the chores, otherwise you wouldn't come out.
Yeah, but I just...
You get tired and you want to go inside? Yeah, I do too sometimes. What do you think about me quitting my job and I just work here instead of going to work every day?
You can stay here.
I can stay here and me and you can do projects together. Does that sound fun?
Yeah, in the new workshop
Yep.
that you build.
Yep. This new hatchery.
Yes, and the new non-milker. That's why you call it, because it's not new?
Yeah. My biggest thing that I'm doing to get ready to quit my job is a big one, and that is chick boxes. So this right here is what we've been sending our chicks out in. This box here is from Murray McMurray Hatchery. You can only get, I think they come in packs of 5. Super expensive from them. We put our stickers on here, hold the post office, call the number, live chicks, our logo sticker. So the stickers alone are pretty expensive, the box is expensive, and they were hard to get this year. I could only get 5 boxes at a time. And when you have a bunch of chicks and you're not sure if you're gonna have shipping boxes for them to ship out on Monday, it gets pretty sketchy. We were talking to the lady who created our logo and everything, and she's like, well, do you want a sticker or do you want to just print on the box? Because printing on the box would look a lot nicer. And I'm like, well, that would be awesome, amazing to do that. but I can't get the boxes. And she actually filled us in. There's a place right here in Holland. They make boxes. So we give them the design and they make the box. And I'm thinking this is gonna be way too expensive. To get 500 boxes, it ends up being $7 and something cents a piece, which is about what we have into them right now. But to get 1,000, you see where this is going, is only like $4 a piece. But they're coming from right down the road and they have our logo, our branding, everything we want already out of the box. So it's definitely the way to go, but that's a lot of money to put up front. So we're going ahead with it. We're signing it today. We're putting the down payment down on it. I'm still not sure how many boxes we're gonna go with, because 1,000, I hope in 2023 I can ship 1,000 boxes of chicks. That brings that cost way down. Don't have to worry about, do we have the boxes? So that's a huge step towards being able to quit my job. While I was at work today, Liddy sent me a text and she said that Everett woke up and asked where I was. And she said, "Oh, Daddy's at work." Everett said, "No. Me and Daddy made a video. It was a not going to work anymore video. Dad said he's gonna work at home with me and we're gonna do barn chores and milk cows and we're gonna spend all day together. Where is he?" And she said, "No, he's still at work. That's gonna be a while before that happens." And it just broke my heart, man. That's why I'm doing this whole thing and that's what I'm working towards. And my dad got to grow up on a dairy farm with his parents. And, you know, it's hard work to grow up on a farm, but to have both your parents home, I mean, my grandma still talks about that today, how she was very fortunate that her and my grandpa were home all the time with the kids. And I think that is the best way to raise kids. They need to know how to go out and do things in real life, absolutely, you know, and we're not looking to shelter our kids from everything, but I would just like to be a part of raising them. I remember when Liddy was pregnant and we were talking about whether she was going to go back to work or not, and I didn't think I would ever be able to make enough money to have Liddy stay home with our kids. But what I said to her was, if you're going to go back to work, I'm going to find a different job, because tool and die is a lot of hours, a lot of stress. And of course she didn't want to go back to work. She wanted to raise her kids. She wanted to be home with her kids. So I stayed in tool and die, but it's just time. It's time for me to figure out how to do this myself. And I know a lot of you guys are probably watching this and thinking, what, do you think you're just going to sit at home, sell a couple chicks and make money? Like, you still have to work, and I totally understand that. But you can't bring your kid to a tool and die shop. I can bring my kid out to milk me. I can bring my kids out to move cows. I can bring my kids to do a lot of things. Yes, it slows you down, but I would rather spend 20 hours a day working on something that I'm passionate about and bring my kids with me than 10 hours a day for somebody else. The biggest thing right now is I'm trying to get these hens out of the molt and laying eggs again, so I can take care of some older orders I have. We need to offer some more dates up, starting in January. That's part of me being able to quit my job, is knowing that there really is that many people out there that want to buy these chicks. So I ended up hanging heat lamps inside the pens with just daylight LED lights in them. And those are plugged in to the pole barn lights, which the pole barn lights are on a timer. So they're waking the hens up in the morning. It's a lot. Those of you who mess with the daylight on a hen, which is controversial, but if I'm gonna sell chicks, I really think it's something that needs to be done, because you need to be able to control it to, like this year, I barely made the orders that I needed to make because they started molting early because of the seasons. So I need to be able to control it somewhat. It's a lot easier to wake the hens up in the morning than it is to keep them from going to sleep at night. So these lights come on at 2 in the morning and then the hens end up going to bed when the sun goes down. Today was Lachlan's baptism, so we had a party afterwards, a lot of family, some friends, and you know that look that you probably got when you told people you were going to get some chickens or a cow, or just the fact that you were going to start homesteading or eating some of your own food? Well, I got that look all over again, except 100 times worse. See, when I started getting American Bresse chickens, people are like, they're what? What's so special about these chickens? I mean, you gotta remember my whole family are farmers, you know, in the conventional sense. And so they were like, yeah, these are special chickens, you know. And then I started selling them, and they're like, oh, people are actually buying them? Yeah, people are actually buying them, you know. And then I got that incubator that holds 580 eggs, and they're like, what are you ever gonna do with that, you know? Or so the question today, they've seen my video of these 2 incubators that each hold 2,000 eggs, a setter and a hatcher. I'm like, what are you doing with that? Like, do you really need that? Was that necessary? I said, yeah, I'm quitting my job in March on my birthday, March 3rd, quitting. And you're gonna do what? I'm like, what I'm doing, I'm gonna make YouTube videos and homestead and sell chicks, and you're gonna quit your job to sell chicks. Mind you, nobody told me I couldn't do it or shouldn't do it, but they're all very skeptical and look at you like you have 5 eyes, and it does really make you think, am I crazy? Is this the craziest thing I've ever done? I'm definitely still gonna do it, but man, I don't know how many more people I'm gonna tell. Probably just leave it a secret at this point. And today our big focus is trying to get more people to sign up for our herd share. We started a herd share about a month ago, and I laugh because we literally started it with the worst cows possible. Nellie doesn't like to keep weight on. You gotta feed her a whole bunch to even try to keep her to slightly maintain her weight. She does produce quite a bit of nice milk. And then Sadie is a pretty good cow. She's a purebred Jersey, but she's only got 3/4, and that's all she's ever had. We're only trying to sell about 4 gallons of milk a day. And right now, we have one day that's full, and that's all by one person. And then Monday, we got 1/2 gallon. Wednesday, we have 3/2 gallons. And then Thursday, there's 1 gallon going out. So there's a lot more milk to be sold. And while there's not as much profit in the milk as there is chicks, it's going to be a much more consistent income for us. And I'm hoping to grow it to the point to where that will pay our mortgage. And I definitely think it's possible. On our homestead, with only having 5 acres, I think about 4 dairy cows is the max. And if you calculate all that out and how much they can produce, and some got to be dry, this is definitely something that we need to be pushing more. We just don't know how. As far as the American Bresse chicks, I was very fortunate that all of you on YouTube have really trusted me and showed an interest in it, and I'm able to ship them across the US. It's a much bigger market, whereas with the herd share, we're talking local. So we got to figure out a way to get into the hands of these local people. I mean, we use Instagram as much as possible, but even that is a pretty broad area. I don't know, maybe we got to do some Facebook marketing. I'm not sure, but definitely something we need to crack down on and figure more out on. And it is Halloween. And of course the kids want to go trick-or-treating. Well, kids. Everett wants to go trick-or-treating. The other two have no idea what it is. But we have to milk. And actually, Everett brought this up earlier on in the week and said, hey, Dad, what are we going to do? We have to milk when we're supposed to go trick-or-treating. So I told him, don't worry about it, buddy. I'll milk. You guys go to Aunt Kelsey's. And you guys can go trick-or-treating. Well, they can go to Aunt Kelsey's. They can start the party. They're going to wait for me to go trick-or-treating. Well, I milk, and I'll meet them there. So I'm getting the cows in right now to milk them. And a lot of people would say, well, isn't this what you're trying to avoid? You're missing out on something with your kids. And yeah, that's kind of true. But me doing this herd share is part of the way I'm going to make money so I can quit my job. And hey, look, I mean, the kids spend most of the time milking with me. So this is one time that it works against us. And honestly, if I didn't have to work my regular job, I could have milked them a little earlier and we all could have went together as a family. So I'm going to get these cows milked and go spend Halloween with my family. Last night was Halloween. I milked the cows while the kids and Liddy went to Aunt Kelsey's for the Halloween party, and I was going to meet up with them after I got done milking the cows to go trick-or-treating with them. And as I was leaving, Liddy called me, and Asa had fallen off the front porch and cracked his head open and needed to go get stitches. So her and her dad were on their way to go get stitches. So I went to Aunt Kelsey's house and took Everett and Lachlan out trick-or-treating. And Everett was super sweet. He said he was saving his candy for Asa, and he did. He didn't eat any of it, which is a lot of willpower for a 4-year-old. I didn't think he'd be able to do it, but he did. This is all a great reminder of I need to find good health insurance at a decent price, otherwise this is never going to work. Because kids are always getting hurt and you always need something. I got a small hatch in this incubator that I got to pull out. Because the hens went into molt a little earlier than possible, I didn't get all the breeding stock I wanted. So this is me trying to get breeding stock. These were actually all supposed to be sold, but I've been calling these people that I've sold these to and pushing them back until January because I really don't, well, one, I need breeding stock. Two, there's hardly enough chicks to get the 25 to send out. So these are just going in the brooder and they're going to be used as breeding stock. Because if I don't have hens for next year, I won't be able to sell as many chicks and I'm not going to make enough money to stay home with my family. So this is very important and we need to get as many new hens as possible while keeping the quality up. We went after the shirt thing, the Bresse's best shirts, and right now I've got $750 into this. Well, no, $850. And yesterday I sold my first shirt, today I sold my second. It's just not going very well at all. And I'm not really that concerned, but everybody at work is just making fun of me. And it doesn't really bother me, but it does make you feel like you're crazy. Like, yeah, why would somebody buy these shirts, you know? What am I even trying to do here? Was it a horrible idea? Are they too expensive? I just can't afford to be making financial mistakes right now while I'm trying to quit my job. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. So at 3:30, where I work, they called me in the office. They wanted to talk to me about a few things. Now, as you guys know, I was planning on quitting my job to sell chickens on YouTube on March 3rd, and then put in my 2 weeks. And my idea there was that would give me enough time for the chickens to start laying more eggs and us to start getting more sales coming in and go farming full time. So me and Liddy were already preparing for this as much as we could, building our business up as much as we could, making those decisions. This is something that we're both very passionate about. We want to homeschool, and that's not something that we felt we were capable of doing with me working a career like this. So when they called me in and wanted to make a bunch of changes to my role at the shop and my pay, I stopped them, and before I even heard what they had to offer, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to move on. And I don't think they expected that. They definitely knew that I was slowing down or stepping back. I mean, that's why they called me into the office. For the past year, I didn't work more than 50 hours, and they're a very busy shop right now. A lot of the guys are working 70 plus hours, and yeah, it's hard for me. It's hard for somebody to manage a shop when you're not working the same hours that everybody else is. I understand that. But honestly, about 2 years ago is when I realized that that wasn't the life I wanted. I don't say this to be negative. A lot of people would call me crazy. That I had a job and an opportunity that a lot of people could only imagine. And I never dreamed or thought I would be in that opportunity. But it just wasn't, at the end of the day, it just wasn't what I wanted. I've talked to a lot of older people. I've always been drawn to older people. Liddy used to tell me in high school when we were dating that I was an old soul. I was like the antique tractors, the old ways of farming, I would rather hang out with somebody that was 70 years old than somebody my age. So, but one thing I've learned from all of them is there's a few things that they don't regret in their old age. One of them that they all have said is, I never wish I had less kids. And no, I don't want to have 20 kids, but kids are very important to me and Liddy, and we enjoy them, and I want to spend time with them. And that's another thing. They never say, I wish I would have worked more hours and spent less time with my family. They all say they wish they spent more time with their family. And that really hits me, you know. I'm already scared of that. I've already seen that. And that was my big turning point, was having Everett, our first son, and realizing that, no, this is the most important thing to me. And at that time I was still raising show pigs and getting deep into this career and working a lot of hours. So I remember Liddy sitting there and we're talking, and she's like, something's got to change. And I just remember being so torn, because it was, I like tool and die, and I like the fact of having a career, not just a job. And I love being an entrepreneur. So the show pigs, I was doing good at it. I mean, it was getting off the ground, but ultimately I loved being a dad and wanted to spend time with my kid, and I wasn't getting any time with my kid. So at that time, I ended up selling all the show pigs and saying, all right, I'm done. I'm focused on my career. We'll have money to support my family, and whatever little time I have left, I'll spend with my kids. And, you know, it just got to the point where even then it wasn't enough time. I was, things at work, you know, the stress level, the managing, it's a lot of stress. And So then when you do get home, you're not the dad you want to be. And so at that point I decided that's not what I want. So I ended up starting this YouTube channel, not having any idea what I was going to do with it. And I said, you know what, I'll just take a little bit of time, make some videos. And Liddy was all for it. She's, you know, go for it. That's something you can do whenever you want. It's not that big of a deal. Go for it. She's totally supportive. And long story short, we ended up getting into the American Bresse chickens, started selling them, and then the goals became realistic. We can make money at this, and maybe someday I can do this from home. So, you know, I was still putting my best foot forward at work, but I wasn't trying to change the world anymore. I knew that that wasn't going to be my long-term goal. And so when all this came down, I was prepared. But so the last month or two, the tension has been rising at work, and I knew that it was going to come. And honestly, a lot of things that I wanted to happen so I could quit my job this spring just weren't happening. I didn't get enough chicks early on to have good breeding stock right away in the spring. My egg production and stuff was going down this winter more than I thought it would. So I'm not getting the chicks out that I need to be getting out right now. Chick sales are skyrocketing, all that's great, but I knew something was gonna happen. So I had to make the decision of, what do I do? Do I give up on this too, like I did the show pigs, and be back to square one? And me and Liddy both agreed that wasn't a good idea. So we decided that I needed to get a part-time job. You know, a part-time job, what is that? Do you stay in tool and die? It's hard to get a part-time job in tool and die because most shops work at least 50 hours on up. And I'm looking at 32, so I can still get insurance somewhere, which would help out for now. And we can focus a lot more on the business. So I started calling around. I didn't get offers yet, but had a few people interested in hiring me part-time. And you know, that was all done just a few days before they called me in that office. And it's weird how God leads you into different things like that. But I just happened to be prepared when they called me in there, and I didn't have to get pushed around or forced into something I didn't want to do to jeopardize my business. So I was able to just respectfully cut it and move on. And at this point, I still have no idea where I'm going to work for a while, but I'm honestly not that scared of it. I don't know. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids, and I just quit a really good job, a high-paying job, but I just have this massive sense of relief.
And there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I do. Looking back on it, there was definitely some tough times, but if it was all easy, I would have stayed and I wouldn't have done any of this. I wouldn't be blessed with you guys. I wouldn't be doing what I'm passionate about. So I'm happier than ever. Now posting a video every day is what we're trying to do. And thank you. Thank you guys so much.